I feel for you. In a market that's filled with options, it's so hard to find a car that's just suited to your exact specific needs. Cars may be dime a dozen, but an SUV that's compact, feature-laden, has 3 rows of seats, and is electric, until not long ago, someone would have said, good luck with that. Mercedes, on the other hand, they sensed an opportunity.
This here is the new Mercedes Benz EQB. What is it? Think of it as an entry spec Mercedes SUV, not the GLA, a proper entry spec SUV, and that's the EQB. For those in the know, there might be a question about what the GLB is then. Well, this is the electric version of that, and it gets a bunch of subtle changes to differentiate it. Most notably, the way it's been styled. At first glance, I was quite bowled over by it. It's sleek and has the same profile as the EQB, but I'm quite certain it will land on its own 2 feet. A few people I know raised a few questions about its looks, but there's no denying it's distinctive.
In here, you could drop in James Cameron, and even he would say it's perfect. Your attention immediately goes to what looks like an unending screen, but it's actually 2 10.25-inch screens sitting side by side. Now, this one, the one right in front of me, is the instrument cluster. It has a bunch of options you can toggle through, and it's just super crisp and super easy to use. The infotainment is the one in the middle. Now, it's a touchscreen, and as you can tell by the lack of a lot of physical buttons, pretty much all of the functions of the car can be toggled from right here.
There are certain highlights that will stay with you, particularly details like the air vents being adorned in this lovely rose gold, the 2-tone upholstery, the backlit trim on the dash, the seat comfort, and just the overall fuss-free, sophisticated and minimalist nature of the cabin.
Now, the beauty of the second row is that this is one of the places where I wasn't expecting to fit at all, but as you can see, not bad. This is set to my driving position, so I'm just shy of 6 feet tall, and as you can see, I've got enough room. I'm a little upright, but it's not the worst, definitely. And as for 2 by my side, that wouldn't be the most ideal, but I can definitely see myself doing that if that's what's required, especially if it's for a shorter duration.
And yes, Mercedes has equipped the EQB with a 3rd row of seats, but as with most 3rd rows in cars, you need to temper your expectations about the space on offer. You'd actually be a lot better off simply folding it flat and liberating the extra boot space. Speaking of which, you can get up to 1,620 liters with the 2nd and 3rd rows folded flat.
Now, onto the meat of it. This is the EQB 300. So that means there's a 66.5 kilowatt hour battery spec to it. In terms that you and I can understand, that's 225 horsepower and 390 Nm, which is no bad deal at all for a car like this. What's interesting is that according to the WLTP cycle, the EQB 300 is rated to return around about 420 kilometers between charges. Now, real world, I would peg that to be somewhere between 300 and 350 kilometers. Of course, this wildly varies according to the way you drive, which is true of any car, but it just takes on more of relevance when you're talking about an electric car.
The EQB's trump card, however, has to be that it drives more like a car and less like an SUV. With a generous amount of power on tap at any point, the EQB makes light work of most twisties and bends, and I have to admit is quite enthusiastic about being driven enthusiastically. The ride is quite sorted too. Bumps and potholes won't filter in for the most part, and thanks to the regen modes that you can toggle from behind the steering wheel, a theoretical one-pedal drive is absolutely on the cards.
All in, I think the EQB stands for pretty much exactly what Mercedes stands for, especially recently. And that is to systematically carpet bomb all of their customers with as many things as possible in their cars. But hey, I don't see anyone complaining. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is Forbes India Momentum. I'm Ronak, and the EMG version of the EQB is going to be wild.